Okay, imagine this scenario. You want to plan a trip. You walk into a travel agency. You sit down with a travel guide and you tell the travel guide that you want to plan a trip. And the travel guide says, you need to go to Japan. And then turns on their screen and starts telling you all about Japan and makes a recommendation of your itinerary. Would you take them up on that? Would you trust them on their recommendation? Would you buy from them? Of course you wouldn't. That would be ludicrous because they didn't take the time to understand you. When your prospects jump on a discovery call, the number one question they're asking themselves is, do you understand me? If the answer to that question is no, they are not going to believe your recommendation, just like you wouldn't believe the travel agent's recommendation. So what I'd like to share with you today is 5 reflective listening techniques that make people feel heard. The first one's a big one that you might not be aware of that I hear in discovery calls all the time, and it's salespeople interrupting prospects before they're done talking. So the first technique is pausing for 2 beats after the person is done talking. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Pausing demonstrates that you're listening to what the other person is saying and also gives you an opportunity to think about how you want to respond. Number 2, mirroring, repeating the 2 to 3 most important words your prospect said with a slight uptone as if to say, tell me more. Sounds like this. Prospect says, I am skeptical that a tool can solve our commission problems. And you say, skeptical? What that does is, again, demonstrate to the other person that you're listening, that you care about what they're saying, and it also elicits more information to help you understand why the prospect is saying what they're saying. Number 3, labeling. Labeling is taking an educated guess about what the other person might be thinking or feeling. So if a prospect says to you, does your software record calls? Amateur salespeople will say, it absolutely does. Let me show it to you. Whereas pro salespeople will use a label and they'll say, it seems like call recording is important to you, or it sounds like you have a reason for asking that. And then what typically happens is the prospect says, well, I actually don't want call recording because legal doesn't allow it. Or maybe at some point you sense that your prospect is a little hesitant or has some concerns, maybe in their body language, or they're not being as talkative as they usually are. You can use a label to draw them out. That might sound like this. You sound like you're weighing your options. You're not sure what to make of it all. It seems like I may have confused you. Sounds like you're not ready to pull the trigger. Is that accurate? It seems like the value isn't there for you. You're wondering if your reps will use it. And then shut the front door and listen. Let people respond. You're not trying to talk people into what you want them to do. It's not about changing minds. It's about getting to the truth and making people feel heard. If you mislabel or guess wrong, your prospects will correct you. Why? Because people love correcting, but they don't like being corrected. Number 4, encouragers. To show people that you're listening while they're talking, that you haven't zoned out, that you're not multitasking, you can make some noises while they're talking. It sounds like this. It just gives people a little pulse to show you're still with them. Number 5, summarizing. Summarizing clarifies what the prospect said and also shows that you're genuinely interested and you care about their perspective. Here's what it sounds like. Example for a personal trainer and nutritional coach. Let me see if I can summarize what you said. You lead a busy life. You're a solopreneur, you're juggling a lot of balls, and you don't want to drop any. You're aware of the link between your health and your weight, and you're concerned about it. It sounds like you want to do something about it. It's just that your life is rushed and you tend to use food as quick fuel to get work done. What else? The reality is there is no script for empathy. It's less about what you say and more about being curious without trying to get people to say what you want them to say. But hopefully these examples will help your prospects feel more understood.